Hi guys, welcome to Manhwa Snitch, the channel that recaps all your favorite manhwas, mangas, and webcomics. Please help support this channel by liking this video and subscribing. Oh, and just before I forget, the title of this manhwa will be in the comments below. Thank you. Now, let the story begin. It starts with a man working overtime at his office, trying to finish his drawing on the computer. This man is called Yuli, and from the look on his face, it seems he has been working for days without rest. Yuli looks exhausted, like he's about to pass out at any moment. Suddenly, he falls from his chair onto the floor. We see Yuli struggling to get back on his feet and continue his work. Out of nowhere, and completely unprovoked, Yuli screams, "I cannot let my overtime go to waste! Until I have finished this week, I can't!" He refuses to give up now because there are so many details to finish. Then he falls again, but this time he doesn't get back up. We see that Yuli has passed out, but he is still mumbling to himself about how he has fallen. And to no one's surprise, the man dies. Another corporate slave bites the dust due to exhaustion and being overworked. The scene switches to a deep forest, where we see a young man named Junfei. He is our main character and the same corporate slave, Yuli, now reborn into Junfei's body. We see Yuli kneeling in front of the tomb that belongs to Junfei's father. Yuli explains that after his death, he transmigrated into Junfei's body. He tells us that Junfei's father was attacked and killed by beasts while hunting in the mountains. Junfei, who relied on his father, was heartbroken, allowing Yuli to inhabit Junfei's body at this moment. Why Yuli talks about how the saddest thing in a person's life is when they die without spending their wealth. He cries that the only thing left to Junfei is a few strips of meat, lamenting the money he saved up but will never be able to use. Suddenly, Yuli snaps out of it and thinks that he cannot complain since the chance to live again is also very valuable. He slaps himself to snap out of his thoughts and, with a serious look, considers what he must do to make this life better. Suddenly, a system window pops up out of nowhere behind Yuli. He turns to look at the system window in surprise. The system introduces itself as the Ascension system and announces that it has been activated. Yuli covers his eyes from the bright light emitted by the system and asks what it is. Soon after, he realizes and asks if he just heard correctly that a system has been activated. Yuli wonders if he is the main character and if he can use the system to take over the world and have a harem of 7,000 or 8,000 beauties. With joy, Yuli says to himself that manhwa novels didn't lie to him, and that next in the plot, he is inevitably going to reach the peak of existence. He spreads his arms wide open and asks the system not to waste time and to bring it on because he accepts the system. However, the system denies Yuli, stating that it has detected that he is struggling and doesn't meet the system requirements, so it is shutting down temporarily. Why Yuli is filled with rage as he asks the system not to shut down so quickly. He demands to know why it's shutting down and what it means by saying he doesn't fit the requirements. He asks the system to explain clearly. The system tells Yuli that he must complete an unmotivated and generic life to prove his ability, so the system can be activated in his next life. Yuli angrily retorts, asking what it means by a generic life, what ability, and the next life. He continues to call the system worthless and useless, but the system strikes Yuli with lightning and tells him that saying bad things about the system is prohibited. Lying on the floor in an awkward position, Yuli reluctantly agrees. The system tells Yuli that he asks too many questions and should consult the user manual. Yuli accepts what the system says and tells it that it has a bad temper. He questions the system about what it means. If he completes this kind of life in his next life, will he be unstoppable? He wonders if he will even be himself in his next life. The system informs Yuli that his soul has been archived, so during reincarnation, the system can retain his memories. No matter what happens, he is already immortal, so any attack that tries to kill him will bounce back and kill his attacker instead. Why Yuli begins to understand the purpose of the system and contemplates that if that's the case, he has to live for another 40 to 50 years before moving on to his next life. He thinks that could be annoying. It seems the only way to get through this life quickly is to. He snaps out of his thoughts and asks the system if deciding to kill himself would count as living his life and if the system could be activated then. The system responds that a true peasant wouldn't decide to die that way, as most people seek good and try to avoid evil. If his actions cause him to die, he will not meet the conditions to activate the system. Yahello continues to think that the conditions are clear and that he can't find them for himself, but he can let them find him. He asks the system one final question: if his current identity is Yahello or Zhenfei? The system tells him that his current identity is considered his physical body, so he is Zhenfei. Yahello becomes happy and decides to work hard to live his life as a peasant, but the system denies that idea, stating that a true peasant does not work hard. With a bored look on his face, Yahello tells the system that he will live his life without interest. The system then wishes good luck to Yahello on his quest to become a peasant and tells him that if he has any more questions, he can consult the system. It then disappears, leaving Yahello alone. He begins to smile menacingly and thinks that a system is a system. Even though it is very powerful, this is unexpected, and Zhenfei should be the peasant, so the situation has nothing to do with Yahello. Yahello understands that, to enter the next life as soon as possible, his goal in this life is to find ways to kill himself while still meeting the requirements. Somewhere deep in the forest, we see the building of the demon school ecstasy sect. Inside, someone in the shadows is watching the members of the sect as they praise their saint and wish her to live forever. The saint, named Shuichime, is pleased by their praises. She smiles and tells the members of her sect that the magical orb in her hands is a powerful weapon left behind by ancient monks. With this orb, their ecstasy sect will be able to rise to the top of the demon school. The members of the sect continue to praise the saint, but a strong wind blows toward her, alarming her. The saint shields herself but soon realizes that the orb was taken from her during the wind attack. We see the one responsible for stealing the orb standing on the roof, looking down at the saint. The saint glares at the woman with the magical orb in her hands, filled with hatred. It seems the saint knows who this woman is. The woman taunts the annoyed saint, telling her to catch her if she can. The members of the sect scream to catch her and not let her escape as they prepare to chase her. In the morning, we see Yahello lying on his bed, thinking about how hard it will be to try and die without breaking the system's rules, so he should be careful. His stomach starts to rumble, and he complains about being hungry. He thinks that thinking is hard and that starving to death violates the rules. He wonders how to find food in the mountains and forests. By hunting. Suddenly, he gets a bright idea. He realizes he is in the mountains and forests. Yahello knows he is a guy who spent every day at his desk, so how would he even know how to hunt? He needs to learn how to live there, but it's so hard. There will probably be so much danger while hunting, like falling to his death or being eaten. With a smile on his face, he guesses it won't take a week before he follows in the footsteps of Zhenfei's father. Yahello happily asks himself what he is waiting for and runs into the forest to try and get himself killed. In the forest, Yahello stands and waits for a boar running toward him to kill him. He smirks, thinking he is about to be reborn as a king. As the boar approaches, just as it seems ready to kill him, Yahello's hands move to grab the boar's horns, leaving him shocked and confused as to why his hands are moving on their own. Yahello raises the boar over his head and slams it to the ground, to his surprise. He guesses it's probably the muscle memory from Zhenfei's body. With a sad look, Yahello wonders why Zhenfei is such a powerful hunter. It seems he has inherited Zhenfei's skills and knowledge. He starts to shout in frustration that his plan to die in the wilderness is perfect, but at this rate, he's going to live in this world for half a century. He wishes a stone would just fall from the sky and strike his head. His wish almost comes true as a fireball falls from the sky and hits his house. Terrified, Yahello realizes a stone did fall from the sky, but it hit his house and not him. He rushes inside, which is now on fire, wondering why he has such bad luck and where he will live now. But to his surprise, he finds a woman lying unconscious on the floor. Shocked, Yuli quietly stares at the woman and the hole in his ceiling, wondering why she fell from the sky and if she is a cultivator from the legends since she has a sword. He thinks she looks fine and isn't sure if she is alive or dead. Yuli lays his head on her chest to listen for her heartbeat but realizes that even her heartbeat is gone, so she seems not to be alive. He thinks it's a shame for a young girl, but he doesn't finish his thoughts when he sees the woman staring at him. Terrified, Yuli quickly backed away, telling her not to misunderstand the situation, as he was just checking to see if she was alive. The woman doesn't mind him and simply says it hurts, leaving Yuli confused. He then takes her outside into the forest, explaining that they can't stay in the house anymore. All he can do now is try to heal her wounds, so he will look for some medicinal herbs. He turns to look at the house, saddened that it was destroyed since he hadn't lived there long enough. The woman tells him there's no need to find medicinal herbs. Yuli turns back to find the woman stripping off her clothes. He asks her what she is doing while continuing to stare at her, but she pulls out 2 jars with medicine in them and asks Yuli to help her apply it, as her body is weak right now. Yuli starts to bleed from his nose as he takes the jars to help the woman apply the medicine to her body. He asks her if she is sure about what he is about to do, and she responds that cultivators don't care about such things. Yuli tells the woman that she is very bold, and she replies that he is very kind. Alarmed, he begins to apply the medicine to her back, wondering how serious her wounds are and how the medicine is powerful enough to make them disappear. Maybe it's an immortal treasure. When he finishes, he wants to ask about her wounds, but she tells him it's a long story. She introduces herself as Zhao Xueli, a cultivator of the Naiwen Sword School, and thanks him for his help. Yuli stares at her blankly and responds that he is Yuli, a hunter, and asks how she ended up falling from the sky. Zhao Xueli explains that a few days ago, she learned that the ecstasy sect of the demon school was hatching a plan. To stop it, she decided to remove the magical orb, but she was outnumbered and chased all the way here, ending up falling and destroying his house. She assures him not to worry because when she gets back to her sect, she is sure they will compensate him for his destroyed house. Yuli thinks that since she faced a whole sect by herself, she must be incredible. The fact that she even survived means she is truly astonishing. He asks Zhao Xueli what her plan is for now. She tells him that the demon school's plans have been thwarted and their artifact is stolen, but they won't give up, so there will probably be more attacks soon. She needs to rush back to her sect to report it. As she starts to move, she suddenly feels pain and coughs up blood. Yuli becomes worried for her, telling Zhao Xueli that her injuries are too serious, and he's concerned she won't be able to handle it if this keeps going. Zhao Xueli asks if he could help escort her to the sect, promising that she will be very grateful. Yuli is dumbfounded. After realizing what she said, Zhao Xueli tells him not to worry about it, as it's too dangerous. Yuli asks how far Zhao Xueli's sect is, and she tells him it will take around half a month. He asks if the demon sect will follow them all the way, and she confirms it will be extremely dangerous. Both of them will need to be lucky to even reach the sect while avoiding the ecstasy sect members. Yuli tells Zhao Xueli that he understands. Yuli then turns to consult the system, asking if he dies while escorting Zhao Xueli, it wouldn't break the rules, right? The system responds that although a peasant wouldn't usually try to be a hero, it is not against the rules. If they suffer an accident, and he dies while helping her, it would be acceptable. Yuli smirks evilly. Zhao Xueli tells him that asking him to do this is too rude of her, and if he doesn't want to, she won't force him. Yuli turns back to her, clears his throat, and boldly declares, "It's all right. I will help you." Zhao Xueli is shocked by his answer and asks if he really will help her. Yuli, clearly with an ulterior motive, agrees and starts lying about how Zhao Xueli has performed a valiant action for the common people. Now she stands alone in the lion's den. Even though he is mortal, he knows what he must do. He will help her fight against the demon cult, and together they will stand. But Zhao Xueli already knows he's lying about everything. Since he doesn't seem malicious, she decides to forget it and head to the sect first. Zhao Xueli again asks Yu Li if he is sure, and he agrees, telling her she doesn't need to thank him. He is confident he will have good fortune for this good deed. Zhao Xueli explains that he will be overworked, and the demon cult will be following her soon, so they need to move quickly. Once again, Yu Li agrees and asks her to let him prepare his things. We see Yu Li by Zhenfei's father's tomb, asking to borrow Zhenfei's body for a while. He requests that Zhenfei dies so he can rest in peace. Yu Li wonders why the forest didn't kill him, but if he meets a few demon cult members on the way, maybe death will come easier. He calls for Zhao Xueli and asks if they can leave. She agrees. Back at the Ecstasy sect, the saint is still furious with Zhao Xueli for destroying her 50-year plan for the sect. She declares that she will make Zhao Xueli pay. The saint looks at the members of the sect and calls out a member named Zhao Chuani. An old man with a staff steps forward. The saint orders Zhao Chuani, an elite, to hunt down Zhao Xueli, an elder of the sword school, and bring back the magical artifact of the demon's school that Zhao Xueli stole. The old man assures the saint not to worry and that he will take care of everything. However, another member of the sect advises him to use all his strength, as Zhao Xueli is extremely strong and he can't relax for a moment. To be sure, she hands him some cloth, which leaves Zhao Chuani shocked. He asks the saint if she is giving him the cloth to use. The saint tells him it is temporary, and if he can kill Zhao Xueli, she will reward him. Zhao Chuani thanks the saint, and she smirks, knowing that Zhao Xueli is as good as dead now since she has her location tracked with soul-catching incense, making escape impossible. What will happen next? Is Yu Li going to be killed on this trip? Subscribe to the channel to find out.